Hello and welcome to the Talk Football Podcast. I am your host, Hodgie, and welcome to the new format of the show. The new episode structure for the full podcast episodes is going to be slightly different. So we're not going to be doing the seasons format like we did previously, which was like seasons 1 to 5. Season 5, which we finished up with me and Adam selecting our all-time Prem 11s. So we're not going to be doing that format anymore. And I think that was a nice way to finish the format. So the new format for the full pod episodes will be named TFP and then #1 and so on and so forth, depending on what episode we are on. And I think that will be a lot clearer and easier for you guys watching to follow, and it kind of matches up with the way we do the vlogs, the match day vlogs, which we are going to continue doing. We will still have guests on the show talking on various football topics, and we will try and keep on top of the latest trending football topics for you as well. Another change that we are making is we are going to be taking away the audio options via Spotify, etc. Apologies to those people that, and there wasn't that many of you in the end that were listening on there. You kind of all have migrated over here to the YouTube. So we're going to concentrate all of our efforts on the YouTube videos here and the full episodes that will go out on the YouTube in the new format. So here we are. Here we go. A new episode, a new format. This is Talk Football Podcast, and we're going to be talking about the Club World Cup and its financial impact on football. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. Well, that's what I'm talking about because I'm doing it on my own today. And because this is a subject that I've wanted to touch on, because I do believe there is a significant impact that the Club World Cup is going to have. I mean, I know it's only going to be 4 years, every 4 years, and but looking at the money that's already been earned by particularly the top European clubs, because they're getting a particular bulk of the money, and I'm going to go through the amounts of money of the clubs, and this is all in US dollars. So for those of you over here watching in good old Blighty or elsewhere, apologies, but it is in US dollars, millions. So yeah, so we'll go through that. I'll name the clubs, etc., and how much they've earned so far. So this is going up to they've just finished the round of 16, etc. So they've got the next round of knockout games to come, which they're going to earn another big chunk of money for the clubs to get through. So top earners so far are Bayern Munich with 58.2 million, PSG 55.9, my club Chelsea 53.6, Man City 51.7, Real Madrid 48.4. I've got it all written down here. Dortmund 39.2, Inter Milan, despite their shock defeat, they're on 36.8. Yet again, significant amount of money. Benfica, 29.9. Does that mean, that for this year, Benfica don't have to sell one of their star players to keep things ticking over like they had been doing, for quite a long time? Juve, 26.6. Porto, 24 million. Atleti, 23.7. And RB Salzburg, bearing in mind the sort of size of club that RB Salzburg are, 15.8 $1 million is a significant amount of money for them. So you can understand. I mean, they can, in their league, that means that they could potentially, go to a level and buy players that other clubs in that league can't. And then certainly for my club Chelsea, I mean, for the amount of money that we've already earned, we have been spending that on the likes of Delap. Gittins is likely to come in, João Pedro from Brighton, etc. So if we go deep into this competition, then those transfers are paid for. Now, it does give us an advantage in terms of PSR, because obviously it's new income coming in. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at. Ultimately, the team that wins the tournament is likely to win upwards of $125 million. I mean, that's just prize money. It's not taking into, other commercial activities that are based around, advertising revenue, etc., off the back of what the clubs are doing themselves back home. Maybe they're marketing, special Club World Cup T-shirts and stuff like that. So they will make other money on top of the money they're also making just from the prize money. Like I say, that for me already that gives City and my club Chelsea a massive advantage over the other Premier League teams going into this current season. I mean, Man City have already spent a considerable amount of money. And on another episode, potentially next episode, I am going to be talking about all the up-to-date current Premier League transfers so far. But yeah, like I say, Man City have made a number of signings already. Chelsea on the verge of making a number of signings already. We've already got Estevao Willian coming in. Like I say, Delap's already been signed. There's a few other young players that have been signed, Sogo and the likes. They're probably likely to go out on loan, etc. But like I say, this gives us a massive upper hand in terms of PSR against the other teams in the Premier League. So yes, it's only 4 years, but if you're buying the right kind of players, you can kind of set yourself up going forward for a good 3-4 years anyway. And yeah, like I say, so you could argue that both clubs have an unfair PS advantage going into the next season. But talking about the Club World Cup as a competition, and I've not really been able to watch a lot of the matches due to the times that they've been on, etc. I have managed to catch a couple of the Chelsea games, despite the times, but not the third one, which got delayed. The game against Benfica, actually, it was around the 16 game. So that was like kicked off at like 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, or 8 o'clock or whatever it was, and then it was delayed for a significant amount of time due to the weather. Now, looking at that as well, and this is a bit of a pre-run for the World Cup next year. This is a time of year where they do tend to get a lot of storm and a lot of storm activity, and a lot of the stadiums are in areas where you're going to get a lot of thunderstorm activity. So it's not been a great spectacle in terms of that. In terms of being a visual success, stadiums have been empty. The conditions of the pitches have been particularly poor. But commercially, you could say that this has been a commercial success in terms of the amount of revenue that it generates for the clubs that are involved, the amount of spotlight that it provides for players, particularly players that are playing at clubs not outside of the top European leagues, and players in South America that certainly can put themselves in a shop window to get a move to a big European club. So in terms of it being a visual spectacle, it's not looked great. It really hasn't. But yet again, the prize money and the commercial revenue that comes with being in this tournament for the clubs that can qualify is significant, and it does give you a major advantage, I would certainly think, going into the new seasons, even though this is technically part of the season that's still ongoing and running. But yeah, so I don't think this tournament is going to be going anywhere anytime soon. It's certainly, in terms of FIFA, UEFA, etc., it certainly bridges a gap between the major tournaments that already exist in terms of the World Cup and obviously the Euros, and certainly to a degree, I suppose, AFCON competitions as well. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. I do think that we are, as a club, Chelsea, getting an unfair advantage in terms of the money involved in this competition. And PSR is certainly something that we're going to be covering and talking about further on down the line. So yeah, there we go. That's my thoughts on the financial impact of the Club World Cup. And like I say, I do think that this is going to have significant ramifications. Spanish League, Real Madrid, Atleti, they're going to be able to spend significantly more than Barcelona, etc. So they're getting an advantage there. Dortmund, even they might be able to sign players that they can then put a real challenge up in front of Bayern. But yet Bayern have earned the most amount of money so far, so Bayern can go out and spend whatever they want on players. So yeah, there we go. My thoughts on the Club World Cup and its financial impact on football, particularly European football. So that's the first episode of the new format, and it is short. There's going to be some short ones. There's going to be some long ones. So there will be, like I say, and there will be guests that will be coming on as well. So yeah, we hope you've enjoyed this. small episode of me talking about the Club World Cup. We're going to be covering transfers, the transfer window, particularly for the Premier League clubs, etc. Because obviously I have a vested interest because my club is up here, Chelsea, and our co-host Adam obviously will obviously be coming on and talking about Derby, etc. as we move forward towards the start of the new season in all the leagues. I'm particularly interested in seeing the Championship this year in particular, because obviously I have a vested interest in Derby with my podcast host Adam, and obviously Wrexham are up there this year, so it will be an interesting one. Wrexham, obviously Birmingham, that were promoted as well, 2 clubs that have great financial backing with their owners, American owners, both of them. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So certainly we're going to cover some of the Championship as well. But I would also like to, particularly from like clubs that I've covered with the vlogs, same with Adam, with the vlogs that we've done, the matchday vlogs, I'd certainly like to get people on from clubs like, particularly in non-league, to come on and have a chat. And grassroots football is in particular something that I am very, very into. I watched a number of grassroots games in terms of non-league and Sunday league football that we went to and that we covered, both me and Adam, over the course of the last year or so. So that's something we want to be able to push on and get people on from those clubs and those organisations to come on and talk about grassroots football and the challenges involved in running a grassroots football club, particularly financially. I mean, you can't really get away from it no matter what you do. The money side of football, and even at grassroots level, they need the investment and they need the money, particularly locally, from local businesses, etc., to be able to push on and provide stuff for the community as well. Being able to let the pitch out to the community, especially if they've got an artificial surface, etc. I know that a club where me and Adam are both very fond of, which is local to him, which is Mikolova. He's covered a couple of vlogs recently with a local church team that has been using the pitch there. And if those facilities weren't there, it'd be very difficult for them to find a pitch of that kind of quality for them to be able to use and grow as a club. So yeah, I want to cover that. That's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to try and keep on trend with local clubs issues in here, Derby, whoever wants to come on and talk about it. And don't forget to link up with us on our socials. If you can see below me, that is the link tree, which will get you to all of our social platforms. But you can easily search us up on Talk Football, Podcast, Insta, TikTok. And like I say, we'll put out some regular shorts, Instas and TikToks as well. And please get in contact with us and give us your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on PSR. Give us your thoughts on Club World Cup. And we hope you enjoy this new format going forward. So for me, your host, Haji, thank you for joining me on this TFP #1 Club World Cup financial impact. And we'll see you on the next episode.